And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, on livinginblack.com. My name is Kedia Wado, aka the Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Tuesday. It is the 4th of February, African History Month. The year 2025 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6265 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. We are continuing this series, and this series is based upon another book coming out of the Conscious Rasta Press Publishing Company. Right now, I am deeply in this modality of writing and reporting and publishing. Let me give you an introduction to today's program. The theme is strategic considerations. Key themes for the African future. Strategic considerations, key themes for the African future. I'm hoping that you are going to hear action plans. Well thought out, well deliberated, taken from a broad perspective of engineers, developers, national leaders, special interest groups, all towards the aim of empowering the African motherland continent, and thereby to give all African people around the world, some 300 million of us outside the motherland, to give all of us a base for permanent empowerment. That's where we are today. That's what we are about. Let's get this party started. I welcome each of you who are on the various platforms. If you are on our Facebook page, we welcome you. If you are on our You Now page, it's always a joy to be with you all day long, nearly all day long. People listen on the Tune In app to LIB Radio. And wherever you are, we are family. And I recognize you as such. Let me give you the introduction, and then let's go right into the research for today's strategic considerations, key themes for the African future. Africa is emerging from centuries of debasement, underdevelopment, disrespect, and ruthless exploitation. People of African heritage across the diaspora can now anchor ourselves culturally within the world's fastest growing population and youthful demographics, with a bright future for prosperity, industrial productivity, and ascending power and influence across the global community. There is great reason to be a proud African on this beautiful planet for the centuries ahead. There is great reason to be a proud African on this beautiful water-covered pearl of a planet for centuries ahead. Today we're focusing on Strategic Considerations, Key Themes for the African Future. Let's go right into the book, if you don't mind. I began each chapter with quotes from notable personalities, quotes that really give us the heart of what this chapter is about. I have two quotes I share at the beginning of this chapter, Strategic Considerations. The first one is from Adenike Ogunlesi, Nigerian entrepreneur, and she is the founder of the Rough and Tumble brand. She says, and I quote, "I have learned that if you face the challenges with positive energy, you are most likely to get better results." Adenike Ogunlesi. This other quote is from Juliana Rotish, co-founder of Ushahidi brand from Kenya, Ushahidi. She wrote, "I'm guided each day by these three questions. What are you fixing? What are you making? And who are you helping?" Powerful, powerful quotes. And I believe that Adenike was a female as well. I could be wrong on that. Nike is looks like Nike, but it is Nike in Nigerian language. I believe it's Igbo. So going forward, key themes for the African future. Let's pick it up right here. For many of us, merely becoming aware of the African rising narrative has significantly elevated our sense of solidarity and innovative productivity with our Pan-African family. It added more gravity to the core of African-centered engagements that have become centric to the future that I envision as my greatest good in life. Now here, bear with me, because I got a little bit of a crusty crust. There you go. Nothing that's some good hot green tea with turmeric, cinnamon, cayenne. I probably could maybe put a little bit more cayenne in it because cayenne cuts the mucus. It's got the turmeric, cinnamon, cayenne, ginger, wild honey, and coconut oil. That's my secret weapon for today. Key themes for the African future. Africa Rising gives a huge boost to our sense of ethnic pride, confidence, point of commonality, and faith in a future where past stigmatization over our blackness has morphed into a great advantage to leverage a prosperous future. Many of us have been raised in societies where our African essence was considered a slur, a deficit, that we could not escape due to the, quote, accident, unquote, of being born into a despised ethnicity. However, with confirmation of the Africa Rising narrative and its multiple advantages, we can see ourselves as the ultimate winners for a global future where, quote, the last shall be first. Africa is emerging from centuries of debasement, underdevelopment, disrespect, and ruthless exploitation. People of African heritage across the diaspora can now anchor themselves culturally within the world's fastest growing population and youthful demographics, with a bright future for prosperity, industrial productivity, and ascending power and influence across the global community. There is great reason to be a proud African on this beautiful planet for the centuries ahead. With this book, we deliberately take a giant step upward and forward toward this great destiny. The bold moves necessary to lift our group from Africa Rising to the African future will be inspiring and exciting. Still, because world history moves relatively slowly, it will take decades to see these advances become evidentiary. From my perspective, the best way to determine this transformed future is to create the future day to day, step by step. I'll repeat, from my perspective, the best way to determine this transformed future is to create the future day to day and step by step. I intend to convey within the pages of this book that this is our destiny. Our generation must preserve its health, longevity, and essential resources so that all can be applied to this sacred task of manifesting the African future. Thus, we do our best to manifest supreme health of mind, body, and spirit. To accomplish these strategic tasks, we are wise in conserving precious resources to invest in this future that will reward our efforts. We do our best to restrict our associations to those that will most likely result in safe progress along our determined journey to sovereign and sustainable development. I love writing. I hope you can tell. I try and read this as carefully as I can. In putting together our words in writing, we get a chance to refine our ideas and make them solid. We want our ideas to flow. And one of the other reasons I love writing is that I get a chance to do a good bit of interviews. I'm going to be doing an interview this evening, a presentation, I should say, more than an interview, as well as I'll be teaching the writer's class this evening, based upon the book From Pen to Power, 90 Days to Write and Publish Your Book. It's such a joy. I love working with writers. And hopefully they love working with me as well. Continue. You are reading this book because you strongly identify with this vision of a great and mighty Pan-African destiny for our people and the whole of the planet and humanity. The African future will be the best future for mankind's peaceful coexistence and proper stewardship for our Mother Earth and the sanctity of nature. So bear with me here. I'm trying to do some grammar corrections as we are engaging this. Okay. We have a lot of work ahead. We have the choice to manifest this grand transformation at whatever pace our resourcefulness and willpower can manifest. Let me repeat that because that's a central theme of this book. We have a lot of work ahead. We can manifest this grand transformation at whatever pace our resourcefulness and willpower can manifest. For many of us, achieving the many steps to meet our destiny will be an exciting, joyful commitment. I will do my best to outline key steps on this journey. I ask that you lend the commitment, effort, and resources to manifesting that which we have articulated. The following is a short list of foundational principles ahead for our group and its members to usher us through the doorstep onto our great journey. So let's go through the short list, and then we're going to take this short list and expand it. This next sub-chapter is entitled Tactical Actions to Empower Our Future. Short list. Number 1, implement the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. And here, bear with me, formatting all of this so I don't have to do it again. It speeds up the process of doing the book, even though it can be a little bit cumbersome because I'm doing it, the formatting now, while it's readily in mind. I don't have to go back and do this a second time. Okay, so number 1, implement the African Continental Free Trade Area. Create a unified market for African goods and services. Point 2, invest in infrastructure development. Improve transportation, energy, and digital connectivity. Point 3, promote entrepreneurship and innovation to support startup incubators, accelerators, and funding mechanisms. Point 4, foster regional cooperation to enhance cooperation and coordination through the regional economic communities, the RECs. Point 5, develop a continental education strategy to improve access to quality education, skills development, and lifelong learning. And point 6, engaging the global diaspora. Our solutions will come in large part by our experiences in high-tech societies. And that's where the diaspora will definitely come in very helpful. So, going forward, let's now talk about implementation of these strategic points. Here are deeper considerations of these strategic actions. So let's continue, and I am formatting this in the background. Here are deeper considerations of these strategic actions. Number 1, implement the African Continental Free Trade Area. Implementing the African Continental Free Trade Area, or AFCFTA, you see it abbreviated, requires a multifaceted approach focusing on policy reforms, trade facilitation, and regional cooperation. Firstly, governments must establish dedicated AFCFTA champions to drive and monitor reforms, ensuring coordination across investment, climate finance, trade, environment, and labor sectors. Secondly, countries must update their domestic investment laws to align with AFCFTA standards, fostering sustainable investment while balancing investor protections and public interest. Thirdly, simplifying work permits and providing electronic access to rules and regulations can facilitate private investments. Additionally, creating a single market for goods and services will require reducing non-tariff barriers, NTBs, and implementing a reporting, monitoring, and elimination mechanism for non-tariff barriers. This involves setting up national monitoring committees and focal points within state governments to identify and resolve non-tariff barrier issues, NTB issues. Lastly, enhancing cooperation on cross-border issues like climate change and public health will help to create a more integrated and resilient investment environment. By addressing these areas, African countries can unlock the full potential of the African continental free trade area, boosting intra-African trade, investment, and economic growth. Point number 2, consolidating the sanctity and centrality of African culture. Consolidating the sanctity and centrality of African culture involves embracing its rich diversity and deep-rooted traditions while fostering a sense of unity and identity. African culture is a tapestry woven from countless languages, religions, art, and social norms. To preserve and enhance this cultural heritage, it is essential to educate future generations about the significance of their traditions. This can be achieved through formal education systems that incorporate African history, values, and cultural practices into curricula. I'm going to repeat because that becomes a very, very important point. This can be best achieved through formal education systems that incorporate African history, values, and cultural practices into curricula. Additionally, cultural institutions and community leaders should promote storytelling, music, dance, and other traditional arts as vital components of cultural identity. By doing so, these practices serve as a source of pride and a means to foster social cohesion and mutual respect among diverse communities. Moreover, it is crucial to critically evaluate and adapt traditional practices to align with modern values and global standards, ensuring that harmful or outdated customs are discarded while preserving the essence of African culture. This balanced approach ensures that African culture remains vibrant, relevant, and respected within and beyond the continent. Very, very good points. The next of these, this short list, expanded, invest in infrastructure development. Here we are. Let's pick this up. Infrastructure development in Africa is critical for fostering economic growth, enhancing regional integration, and improving the quality of life for its citizens. To achieve this, the African global community can adopt a multifaceted approach that leverages domestic and international resources. Firstly, African governments should prioritize public-private partnerships, PPPs, to attract private sector investment. Initiatives like the African Union and African Development Bank's Africa Investment Forum can facilitate these partnerships, enabling private companies to contribute their expertise and capital. Secondly, and I'm going to highlight that sentence and I'm going to come back to that, can facilitate these partnerships, public-private partnerships, enabling private companies to contribute their expertise and capital. This is what equity investing is about. And let me just put that in parentheses, equity investing. That's a very important point going forward. Secondly, geopolitical funds such as the Belt and Road Initiative, the Belt and Road Initiative is China's global investing development, what they call it, geopolitical investment strategy. You have the Global Gateway Initiative. That is from the European Union. And Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment offers significant opportunities for infrastructure financing. And I just want to highlight these three investment initiatives because as I am reading this right now, I'm reminding myself that I have been working on assembling a coalition. I want 12 partners from US, UK, Canada, CARICOM. 12 working partners. I do have probably 5 of those 12 already lined up. And these partners we're going to be representing the Diaspora commitment. Now, I know they did just have the African Union 6th region elections take place here. I didn't involve and engage in it because I've known about this African Union 6th region initiative probably for at least 10 years. And to be honest, I haven't been impressed. But if they have a new leadership, I'm going to start fresh. So to outreach to the AU 6th region leadership, let me see if I can pull that up in the background. I have a window open, my Brave browser, how to contact the AU 6th region leadership, ? And I'll push that up in an AI search, contacting the AU 6th region leadership. To contact them, visit their official website, https://au6rg.org, or there is the USA organization, and that's the one I probably will contact first. And so some of you out there are listening, and I have yet to acknowledge you. Forgive me for any oversight there. Some of you out there would probably like to join me to getting in contact with these groups. So African Union 6th Region Global promotes inclusivity and global advancement and trade. We educate, engage, embrace Africans in the 6th region. And so I'm going to share that link. Let me see. Unfortunately, it's not letting me copy text from the document. So I'm just going to say AU 6th region. And I'm going to copy, cut, and share that with you, my listening audience today. Bear with me here. I'm going to find where I'm broadcasting from and have to open up another window here. And that other window is, and people, if you, a lot of people just don't know I broadcast this time every day. People are always sending me these messages on Facebook, and I keep telling them, please don't do that. It's only problematic. It just clutters my access to this information that I'm using during the show, to have to all of these message pop-up windows get in the way. So here is where we are. I want to say greetings to each and every one of you. Nobody has said a word to me yet today. Ooh, that's painful, but it's no surprise. I do have a fairly good sized class, so everyone at least hit the like button. And I do see Queen Mother Kashiba. She writes, and greetings to you, beloved Queen Mother. It's always an honor and a pleasure to have you in the house. Will these private companies, PPPs, favor Pan-Africanism? Yes, if we Pan-Africans form them. There are no small number of African leaders who are unquestionably Pan-African. Three that readily come to my mind. The more I think about them, the more I think that I know they are. The old man, Baba Yoweri Museveni of the Republic of Uganda, Paul Kagame of the Republic of Rwanda, Ibrahim Traore, the revolutionary leader. He sits on the head of the military council that leads the Burkina Faso government in the Confederation of Sahel States. I would say that the new president of Senegal, the young president of Senegal, is one of Africa's youngest leaders, is himself dedicated Pan-African, the new president of Botswana. And then we can look at some of the older presidents of countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Guinea, and a number of others, to see their Pan-African credentials in action. Abiy Ahmed, serious Pan-African. So yes, will these private companies, PPPs, favor Pan-Africanism? Yes. Why? Because we will initiate. And I will say this further, Queen Mother, and you do as well as anyone that I know at initiating investment. But we will initiate with capital investment, equity investing. It's not only cash, not only dollars, it's capital. We're talking about human capital. We're talking about technological capacity. We're going to have to bring more to the table than we have been. Because as it is right now, just the mere fact that you had asked that question means there's reason to be unsatisfied with the Pan-African public-private partnerships that we see now in place. But they have been going on for some time. I do my best to document them in the books, The Repairing Futurenomics. And there's a second version of Futurenomics I'm queuing up. It's actually, I may merge Futurenomics 2.0 into a large chapter of this book, The Pan-African Future. I probably will do it that way, because I did a lot of research for Futurenomics 2.0, but that research is 2 years old. All has to be updated. At that time, as I was writing that, the AFCFTA was still on the horizon. Well, now we're our third year of AFCFTA. Third year completed, I think. Started in 2021, if I can remember. So the answer to your question is yes, because we will initiate these PPPs. Great question. Awesome question. I did put up a link to contact the one of the two African 6 region groups, and I'm going to push up another one. This is the leadership of the the leadership of 6 region African Union, or African Union 6 region. So leadership is type leadership, copy and paste this over here. And let me also paste this on the YouTube page for those of you in our YouTube family. And I'm going to paste this on the Facebook page, which is how I like to go back and pull this research and these references up to be able to have them accessible for the long run, for the long count. So here we go. Let's keep going forward. We got a lot of information on the table. Real quickly, just copy, cut, and paste this in my reference papers as well. This is all really exciting. I wish I could be 4 people right now during the show. I wish I could be 4 people. I can't be 4 people unless I can convince some of you out there to be me as well. 1 person to pull up references and contacts, 1 person to edit the text or the script that I'm reading from. I need 1 person to monitor the integrity of the broadcast. And I need another person to interface with the listening audience and do a better job of convincing more people to collaborate, cooperate, and engage. There's a lot of work ahead. Youthful is in the classroom. Great to have you with us. I hope you find what we're talking about today to be informative, inspiring. Queen Mother asks, will these African countries allow foreign bases on their soil to protect their investments, assuming that some of these investors are non-Africans? Well, that is currently the case. That is currently the case, although we are not satisfied with the current engagements. That's a touchy subject there. And especially with an erratic commander-in-chief in the United States, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Donald Trump is the wild card. He could accidentally create some tremendous opportunities for our people to progress, or he could just act like the Donald Trump that we see the liberal media constantly reacting against. I am not a liberal. I don't sign on to the liberal dominant corporate controlled media. I think they're phonies and fakes. I'll just put a period right there. I'll just put a period right there and go forward. So we going forward. Thank you, Queen Mother. Your engagements are always well informed and appreciated. Loved. Continuing, I'm reading from the book, and we're talking about the spectrum of engagements. Let me back up a sentence or two. African Investment Forum. No. Initiatives like the African Union and African Development Bank's Africa Investment Forum can facilitate these public-private partnerships, enabling private companies to contribute their expertise and capital, which is equity investing. Secondly, geopolitical funds, such as the Belt and Road Initiative, Global Gateway Initiative, and Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, and that one I have to look up to see who is sponsoring that one. These offer significant opportunities for infrastructure financing. Real quickly, look up that one. These funds, driven by strategic geopolitical objectives, can support large-scale transport, energy, telecommunications, and water projects. However, African policymakers must navigate the complexities of these funds, and I'm going to put, and their foreign sponsors. Self-interest to ensure they align with local development goals. Additionally, improving the capacity of public administrations to manage and monitor infrastructure projects is essential. This involves developing clear visions for infrastructure sectors and implementing robust project planning and monitoring frameworks. By combining these strategies, the African global community can effectively mobilize resources and expertise to address the continent's substantial infrastructure needs. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. The Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Development is U.S. sponsored. So I see that one. So I'm going to go back up into that paragraph and separate these three initiatives. So Belt and Road Initiative. After that, I'll put in parentheses China. You have the Global Gateway Initiative. Put in parentheses European Union. And you have the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, put in parentheses U.S. So now that gives us a little greater ground to ask this question. And I know this question immediately comes to your mind, Queen Mother Kashiba. Can these sponsoring governments of these geopolitical investment funds, can they be trusted to protect Pan-African sovereign and sustainable development? Keaty says, based upon their historical record, 2 of the 3 can definitely not be trusted. And the third one is suspect. We should be skeptical about foreigners investing so much in African strategic investing. What's in it for them? What do they have planned in it for them? We can see clearly with China's Belt and Road Initiative, it's designed to funnel natural resources to China. That's what it's designed for. They don't hide that fact. Whereas the EU's Global Gateway Initiative is said to be helping to develop the indigenous populations, but we know that they're merely reacting to the Belt and Road Initiative. And as a person living within the United States, domiciled within the United States, will the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment, the U.S. scheme, will this be ultimately good for Africans? John Kerry said it. He said these USAID and other development aid is not intended to empower those nations. I'm paraphrasing him. He said it is intended to empower U.S. enterprises. And now we're looking at an era where the globalists want to scoop up all U.S. enterprises for their global war against the workers and the middle class. Going forward, the next initiative on this list, promote entrepreneurship and innovation. The African global community, including the diaspora and local populations, holds significant potential to promote entrepreneurship and innovations across the continent. By leveraging the diaspora's skills, market intelligence, and spending power, Africa can foster a vibrant ecosystem of innovation and economic growth. Initiatives like the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, and I'm so very proud of Tony Elumelu, who is not working at the same scale as China, EU, and the USA, but he's a Nigerian billionaire, and the scale he is working on is making a huge difference in the elevation of young entrepreneurs and innovators on the African continent. Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program aims to identify and support 10,000 startups and young businesses over the next decade, creating 1 million jobs and generating 10 billion in new annual revenues. Financial inclusion plays a pivotal role in this process as it helps bridge the gap between aspiring entrepreneurs and the resources they need. Digital platforms are also transforming the entrepreneurial landscape, expanding market access, and fostering inclusivity by connecting entrepreneurs in both urban and rural areas with a global customer base. Governments and local communities can collaborate with these digital platforms to create an enabling environment that addresses regulatory challenges and digital literacy barriers. This collaborative approach drives sustainable economic development and ensures that the benefits of entrepreneurship and innovation are widely distributed, contributing to a more inclusive and prosperous Africa. Ashe. Next point is foster regional cooperation. And again, since I found out, and we've been talking about the Africa Rising narrative for 10 years now, a key component of that was always watching the development of the RECs, regional economic communities. These 5 regional economic communities include, from the north, the Maghreb, or the Arab Maghreb states. It included the East African community, included SADC, the Southern African Development Community, included ECAS, the Economic Community of Central African States. It included ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. So going forward, the RECs, now you know, and if you're just finding out about the RECs, welcome to the next level of your understanding of the dynamics happening on the African continent. And you have another regional economic community, which was a subset. It was the Association of Sahel States, ASS, and it wasn't in that. It was not in that order. It's because they spoke French, so it's different. But the Association of Sahel States has now turned into, there is still the Association of Sahel States, but there's a smaller entity within it called the Confederation of Sahel States, CSS. That is a new nation. That's Africa's newest nation, created July 6, 2024, when Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali decided to unite their governments, their revolutionary governments, after excusing themselves from the ECOWAS community. And now we see the Confederation of Sahel States as one of the most progressive, dynamic leadership bodies on the African continent. So we're wishing them absolute success. I am. I hope you are on their team as well. So foster regional cooperation. To foster regional cooperation across Africa, the African global community can take several steps. These include Point one, encourage economic integration. Regional economic communities, such as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the Economic Community of Central African States, ECAS, can promote economic integration and cooperation among member states. And I would say the East African community is leading the charge for a large integration, large scale, that's what I want to say, large scale integration of 8 to 10 independent republics into one powerful federation by 2027 ? Going forward, promote peace and security. Again, we're talking about fostering regional cooperation. And this promoting peace and security is one area where the EAC has had a huge setback in recent months because of the sparking up of another level of intensity of the conflict in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The DRC is a member of 2 regional economic communities. It did join the East African community in 2019 and is now recognized as a full partner within that 8-nation community, which also includes Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, DRC, and now the latest to join, Somalia, is expected to also join with Ethiopia and Djibouti by 2027, when they are planned to federalize that, which will be one of the largest population, to become the 3rd largest population nation in the world at that point. So this has been moving forward. Some of us just kind of catching up on it. Point 2, promote peace and security. The African Union's peace and security framework, including the African Peace and Security Architecture, APSA, can be leveraged to enhance security cooperation and conflict prevention among the regional organizations, the RECs. Among the RECs. Foster, and point number 3, foster dialogue and collaboration. Initiatives like the Africa Futures Project, which brings together stakeholders from across the continent to discuss and analyze African policy issues, can help foster dialogue and collaboration among African countries and regional organizations. The African Futures Project. We have to know more about that, right? African Futures Project. The African, no, I looked for the wrong thing. The African Futures Project. That's what we're looking for. And the African Futures Project, just real quickly, has been involved in various initiatives aimed at enhancing the future of African countries. Here are a few key aspects of the project. The African Futures Institute, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, African Futures Research Leadership Program, Pardee Institute for Policy Simulation, National Long-Term Perspective Studies, NLTPS, Future Africa, African Futures 2030, Venice Architecture Biennale, and Alliance for African Partnership, Global Environment Outlook, GEO7, and International Futures Model. That's pretty intensive. I just learning about this, and I am definitely going to look closer at this to see if it can be integrated into the book. Copy the title, copy that, and print this as well as a PDF on my folder. I get a lot of researchers piling up for this, but this looks like a pretty significant piece. The African Futures Project. I am a scientific futurist, so that's why I am very interested in this. So, African Futures Project. Let me highlight that. Bold and italicized. And I may just insert that into this chapter. Let's see how much longer we have for this chapter. Next is point number 4. We're talking about supporting the regional economic communities, support African-led initiatives. The African global community can support African-led initiatives such as the Nouakchott process, which aims to enhance security cooperation in the Sahel-Saharan region to promote regional cooperation and ownership. By taking these steps, the African global community can help foster regional cooperation. And bear with me, why is this? By taking these steps, the African global community can help foster regional cooperation and promote a more integrated and peaceful Africa by taking these steps. Sorry about that. I did a little correction in the middle of that and kind of threw me off as it rewrote the paragraph. Develop a continental education strategy. Developing a continental education strategy for Africa requires a collaborative effort among various stakeholders. The African Union's Continental Education Strategy for Africa, CESA, 2016 to 2025, aimed at reorienting educational systems to meet the continent's needs. It serves as a foundational framework. However, to enhance its effectiveness, continuous review and adaptation are essential. The recent review process, initiated in May 2024, involved extensive consultations and feedback from over 2,500 participants, including government officials, educators, and civil society representatives. This participatory approach ensures that the strategy reflects diverse perspectives and addresses the unique challenges faced by different regions. Key to this strategy is the emphasis on inclusive, lifelong, and quality education aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The draft CISA 2026 to 2035, currently under review, incorporates findings from the previous strategy's assessment. It focuses on 6 strategic areas, including resources and enabling environments, which are crucial for building resilient education systems. By fostering partnerships and leveraging innovative financing mechanisms, African nations can mobilize resources for education. Moreover, integrating technology and promoting teacher training are vital for enhancing education outcomes. Ultimately, the success of the Continental Education Strategy hinges on strong governance, effective communication, and rigorous monitoring and evaluation. Engaging all stakeholders, from policymakers to educators and students, is essential for ensuring the strategy's implementation and impact. Through collective commitment and action, Africans can develop and sustain a robust education system that empowers future generations and drives sustainable development across the continent. And I always, when I hear this word sustainable, I always add sovereign and sustainable, because many times these sustainable development policies are actually tricks by outsiders to come in and insist that they manage African resources. So sovereign and sustainable development across the continent. Let me double check, make sure I'm not missing any of our family communications here. It's very important that you have your voice heard. Queen Mother, does not Botswana have foreign bases on its soil? I think Botswana has a U.S. military base on its soil from which drone warfare is taking place. So there are, and in the Friday night class that I was teaching, I made a chart, a poster of all of the foreign military bases on the African continent, and it was very disturbing. I think there were some 70 in it. Let me see if real quickly I can find that graphic. And that graphic would be under documents, and it was the Pan-African Study class. Pan-African, I think I can find this document. Pan-African Study course and U.S. military presence in Africa. Thank you for that question, Queen Mother, because I will show you the four U.S. military bases in the Sahel region. So right now I'm going to present this screen. I'm going to share the screen, and this, maybe I'll have to push this up as a chapter in the African future of how to get away from this. So here we go. I'm sharing this screen. You should see this pop up on the stage here in just a second. The U.S. military presence in Africa. Where is it? U.S. military presence in Africa. Let me just upgrade the screen size a little bit. So the U.S. military presence in Africa. Sovereign African nations express concerns about American and French military bases due to perceived erosion of national sovereignty, potential for foreign interference in domestic affairs, and worries about weapons proliferation and security risks. Additionally, some nations may resent the unequal bilateral agreements and economic benefits offered, viewing them as neo-colonialism and exploitation. So here we are looking at the continent, and these bases are all over. I have a list of these countries: Algeria, Mali, Niger. Now this map is a year. How old is it? I can't tell here. Let me see if I can find the date on creating this. This is dated, I can't tell the date, and I don't have time to look for that, but this is from 2024. So I do know that Mali and Niger have been telling the Americans get out. Cote d'Ivoire was another one that recently told them to get out. But here are the nations: Algeria, Mali, Niger, Guinea, Burkina Faso. I know they have told them to get out. Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, Nigeria, Chad, Egypt, Central African Republic, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Uganda, Kenya, Seychelles, and Malawi. And looking at the map, we're looking at the Southern Africa region, which includes Botswana. Let me just point to Botswana here on the map. It's right there above South Africa. Immediately to the east of Botswana is Zambia, and to the southeast of Botswana is Zimbabwe. To the west of Botswana is Namibia. So Namibia has two bases: Botswana, one according to this chart, and Zimbabwe has one according to this chart. But yeah, that's true. Now, these red dots are not the only military bases, but this is what a couple of hours worth of work for me to put together to indicate. And of course, they're using the threat of Islamic jihadist terrorism as a justification for negotiating these deals to put these military bases on African soil. Obviously, we should not be satisfied with this. This was from the course, the Pan-African Study course that I was teaching. Some of you did appreciate it. Most of the people ignored it, and I dropped it. It was sad because this was what we were teaching. I was teaching Pan-Africanism, and this was the 2024 summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. Very important things that we, unfortunately, learned to ignore. Pan-Africanism versus the Global Reset. This is a chapter in the book, Futurenomics 2.0. Actually, that was the subtitle of the book, The Wakanda Future versus the Global Reset. I miss teaching that class. So, there we go. We shared that. Let's stop sharing. And let's continue with the book at hand. We're still talking about this chapter is entitled Strategic Considerations, Unify and Engage the Global African Diaspora. Africans can unify and engage the global diaspora by leveraging technology, innovation, and community engagement. With over 200 million people of African descent living outside the continent, and according to Keating's numbers, it's 300 million, over 300 million. So let me just change that 2 to a 3 here. With over 300 million people of African descent living outside the continent, the diaspora is a significant demographic that can contribute to Africa's economic growth and development. By investing in indigenous innovation and fostering deeper connections across the diaspora, Africans can create a vibrant landscape of opportunity and growth. The African diaspora is uniquely placed to develop solutions tailored to Africa's needs. And their knowledge of technologies and industries acquired abroad can be utilized to drive socio-economic development. Furthermore, literature and art created by Africans in the diaspora can help to create alternative narratives and promote a more nuanced understanding of the African experience. To unify and engage the global diaspora, Africans can establish platforms for collaboration, knowledge sharing, and networking to unify and engage the global diaspora. This can include conferences, festivals, and online forums. And here, let me just change something. This can be these platforms include conferences, festivals, and online forums celebrating African culture and innovation. By working together and embracing our shared heritage, Africans can unlock the potential of the diaspora and create a brighter future for the continent. Ultimately, a united and engaged diaspora can be a powerful force for driving economic growth, promoting cultural exchange, and fostering a sense of global citizenship. So that was that short list of priorities. The next subchapter for this chapter, and I'm right on time. I've been doing a lot of writing on getting this chapter ready. This chapter of the book is entitled, once again, Strategic Considerations. Next subchapter, Assets and Liabilities Challenging the African Future. Envisioning a unified Africa and its global diaspora as a formidable entity in the global order is truly an intriguing thought. Here are some potential advantages and assets. First category, natural resources. Vast mineral wealth. Africa is rich in minerals like gold, diamonds, oil, and rare earth materials, metals essential for modern technology. Number two, agricultural land. Fertile land and favorable climates for diverse crops, providing food security and agricultural exports. In the book, The Blackest Soil, I reported that the continent has 2.160 billion acres of arable land, 60% of which is undeveloped. Fully developed, Africa can feed a total of 12.9 billion people. And that's some serious business there. We really need to take this potential seriously. The book is The Blackest Soil. The overwhelming majority of you have never read it. Unfortunately, a whole lot of you seem to be completely uninterested at this level of understanding of Pan-African sustainable development. But we can't give up. We have no choice. We have to keep going forward. Fortunately for me, African people on the motherland do take the research that I do present. Again, fully developed, Africa has the potential to feed a total of 12.9 billion people. And I am really, really proud to have been able to do that research. And the book is well received in multiple African countries. Today, we're talking about strategic considerations, key themes for the African future. The next theme is human capital. Youthful population. Africa boasts one of the youngest populations. No, Africa continent boasts the youngest population in the world. Bear with me. Africa continent boasts the youngest. And just real quick correction on that. Diaspora expertise. We're talking about human capital. The global African diaspora possesses valuable skills and knowledge in every field. Every field necessary for managing a modern technological society. That's true. The global African diaspora possesses valuable skills and knowledge in every field necessary for managing a modern technological society. We do. We have those skills, and they need those skills. They want those skills on the continent. If you have those skills, text me at area code 702-580-0662. If you have these skills and you believe in your capacity, then text me with the simple words in all caps, I have skills. And then let's talk. Let's talk about bringing your skills set to the forefront. I have skills. And that's what I do. When I'm not on the air and broadcasting, I am projecting my skills set for African development. And I have groups. Queen Mother Kashiba, can we print out this map? I highly encourage you to do so. Please do. It was on the screen for a minute. I hope you saved it to your hard drive. Well, actually, no, it wasn't on the skill. It was on the broadcast. I can send it to you if you want it. And everybody, please do take a moment right now to hit the like button. One person hit the I do not like this program. So, do your best. Queen Mother says this is off topic. So answer it at the end of the show. What do you think of Ghana giving citizenship to 300 non-African people, such as Lebanese, Europeans, Euro-Americans, etc.? The reason Ghana is giving them citizenship is for the simple reason they are protecting their strategic investment sources. They're rewarding these people for investing in Ghanaian development. Let's not pretend like African Americans aren't rewarded for investing in America. And if Tony Elumelu, Ibrahim, what's his name? I wrote about him in the Blackest. Mo Ibrahim, Tony Elumelu, or Aliko Dangote came over and built up America, invested in American businesses and corporations, the United States would offer them a passport. That's just the way it is, Queen Mother. Are we happy with that situation? No, we're not. We shouldn't be happy with it. But I can assure you this, Queen Mother. I can assure you, should you and I go to Ghana and build up business communities and invest strategically and launch banks and other large-scale institutions that allow the nation to create jobs and stabilize its economy and bring in greater revenue to the federal government, they will offer us citizenship. In fact, a whole bunch of us are getting citizenship in Ghana. So what do I think of it? I'm not happy with them doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I am not happy that more and more of our people are not coming together and cooperating and collaborating to replace them in the Ghanaian economy. So I don't think we should run away from that question, Queen Mother. I think it's a serious, challenging question that challenges our values system. Nguvu says, does China have bases there? China has one base on the African continent, and that is in Djibouti, which Djibouti has bases from USA, from the EU. I think there's a Russian military base in Djibouti and a Chinese military base in Djibouti. I understand what Djibouti's doing, and I cannot disagree because they're a sovereign nation. They don't need to be taking advice from a little Rasta boy writing books. I understand why they're doing that. And as a consequence, it's either protecting itself from disruption by the militaries of these various competing governments, or it is putting itself in the greatest danger of being the first part of the African continent to be nuked when these crazies like Israel and the US and Russia get mixed up in close proximity to each other. So it's either very, very wise or very risky. That's the truth. Good question, Nguvu. I want to say today's audience is really engaging at a high level. I hope that this interest in the topic today continues to be the interest in the book, The African Future, when the book is completed. This book is not going to take too long to write because I'm putting 4 books into my catalog by April 18. At least 4 books, maybe 6. One of which has already been pushed in there, and that is the new book, The Stem Cell Revolution. And I'm sending some go out in the mail today. I just got the package just a couple of days ago. And I'm sending copies out for those of you who were the early ones who said, I want an autographed copy or 2. And I want to thank you all for supporting your brother. It got so hard to finish the book. And now that the book is finished, The Stem Cell Revolution, I'm hoping that hundreds of people will order this book and order this strategic plan into their lives to rejuvenate, reverse aging, stop aging, and to fix all these distorted health, chronic health problems. There's a chapter on stopping the need for hip replacement surgery, for getting rid of arthritis in weeks. There are chapters in how to rebuild our eyesight. This book is the miracle we've been praying for, people. How to get rid of diabetes and metabolic syndrome disorders in just weeks. I have yet to see someone, and there's supposed to be a few people coming into the protocols, but I've yet to see someone with diabetes take on this particular book, The Stem Cell Revolution, and take on the plan. And you need to be coached through it, because using only the book, a lot of people just don't have that kind of fortitude and willpower to do it without being coached. But if there's someone out there with diabetes, someone out there, some of these things are just too easy. Someone out there with cholesterol medication, you're on statins, and you don't want to be drugged out for the next 30 years of your now shortened life expectancy. If somebody out there is experiencing the early stages of kidney failure, and I'm talking about, when you're talking about progressive nephropathy, you cannot start your strategic plan to get rid of it too early. If you hesitate, if you procrastinate till you're on dialysis for months and months and years, damn, that was as close as you're going to catch me to cussing. But why? Why did you wait so long? Why did you wait so long to fix a problem that was fixable using natural mechanisms? I'm still saying it can be fixed, but now your uphill curve is very steep. It can be fixed. But do you have strong enough legs and fortitude to climb up a very steep hill, rolling that ball like the mythical Sisyphus? Why? I got to ask the question. I had a wonderful engagement with someone who I love, admire, and respect, one of our gracious Queen Mothers. I'm not going to mention her name because she may be listening, but I love this person. But I jumped on her, and I let her know, I'm not happy with the fact that I engaged you to join us for free in the class, the first class of this 8-week-long stem cell revolution. I invited a whole bunch of people, not just you. And the overwhelming majority of the people I invited did not show up, including at least one person, maybe two. Like I can't remember, I'll keep these names all together, but one person who's scheduled for hip replacement surgery. And I said, why? I'm going to get off this topic because I'm getting agitated that people ignore me. I'm offering you real solutions based upon science. And you keep saying, yeah, and then don't show up. I'm about to dismiss one of my wonderful friends, one of my global friends, because I can't offer you the same thing over and over again, and every time you mess it up. I'm not messing it up on my end. You're messing it up. I'll call you in the morning. We'll talk. No, you won't. I know that you won't. Because you've done this again and again and again. And I talked to someone else who wrote you off as well. I love the brother. I love my queen mother. We're going to do better, or we are going to fade to black. At this present, it is fade to black. The book was accurate. As much as I don't like admitting it, I always have to admit the book Fade to Black, The Passing of a Great Race, was accurate. It did predict that African Americans from 2020 only had 45 more years before they disappear. And the Africans in the UK, you got less time than that. Significantly less time than that. Maybe a whole generation less. Real quickly, go forward. I'm going to wrap up today's conversation. Let me see if I can get through the rest of this chapter. We're talking about what is necessary for developing assets and liabilities, challenging the African future. We're still in assets, cultural influence, cultural richness. African art, music, and literature have a global impact, fostering cultural diplomacy and soft power, a truly transformative paradigm. This is African culture. Language diversity. This is an asset. Multilingual capabilities enhance diplomatic and trade relations, as well as sustain a healthy and vibrant mental health. That's right. Has sustained vibrant mental health. Continuing, economic potential. Natural resources. The African continent has a vast array of natural resources, including ivory. There's an ivory trade is dead. Rubber, palm oil, cocoa, diamonds, tea, rare earth minerals, and many industrial ores. And instead of saying ivory, I would say wildlife, because the ivory trade is dead. I don't know how that AI put that in there, but nowhere in the world I'm endorsing ivory trade, which could be harnessed to drive economic growth and development. Again, African continent has many natural resources, including wildlife, rubber, palm oil, cocoa, diamonds, tea, rare earth materials, and many industrial ores. And they didn't put traditional African herbs, traditional African medicine, TAM, herbs and foods, along with many industrial ores, which could be harnessed to drive economic growth and development for these PPPs, private-public partnerships, Going forward, continuing economic potential, renewable energy potential, hydroelectric generation, regeneration from raging rivers, solar power potential, wind, biogas, and harvestable ocean fuels from algae are all on the renewable energy future resources map. So I'll correct that a little bit later. Okay, market size. A unified market could attract global investments and foster intra-continental trade. And we're talking about unified, meaning continent-wide, 55 countries, and global diaspora is pretty significant. In this book, I'm going to do a good identification of who is African on this planet. We are going to include some 22 nations in the Western Hemisphere with black majority populations. And when I did the AI inquiry to give me that list, they gave me 5. I got to go back to my previous book, Futurenomics, and list the 22 because I knew there was more than 5. So when I started asking the AI, well, what is the largest population in Bermuda? Black people. They didn't put that on the list. What about US VI? Black people. What about British VI? Black people. So people who are out there relying on AI to do your research, it ain't even close to being good enough. It ain't even close. I do use it constantly, but I know how to check it for verification because I've been doing this research for decades and decades before AI comes along as the new kid on the block. Entrepreneurship, a growing wave of entrepreneurship and startups is emerging from across the continent. And globally, and let me just do this, undo that, across the continent and globally. Strategic location. We're talking about Africa's resources and assets. Geopolitical position. Proximity to major shipping routes and global markets enhances trade. Yes, when we're talking about Africa, we're talking about the Suez Canal. That's why Djibouti is so important, because of its strategic location at the top of the Red Sea. That's why the Straits of Aden are so important, which is where is Djibouti located at the south, at the north end of that? Yeah, so it's at the south end. That's where the Straits of Aden, I think it's called. That's where the Aksum Empire was located. Very, very important. We're talking about tourism, Africa's advantage, tourism, rich natural and cultural heritage sites, boost tourism revenue, and can significantly, let me say can significantly, boost future tourism revenues. And I will say to this can be added African health and wellness tourism. That's in the book, The Global Wellness Economy, the global wellness future. We've identified some $2.9 trillion coming into this global economic future by 2028. Well, how much of that would be the 55 countries of the African continent of this $2.9 trillion coming in? How much of that can 55 African countries capture? We need to be serious about this global wellness economy future. We need to get serious. Innovation and technology, tech hubs. We've done programs, multiple programs on the 260 growing tech ecosystems in cities like Lagos and Nairobi that are driving digital innovation. 260. We have identified 260 such innovation hubs growing across the motherland. That's right. Now, y'all caught me writing the book right now as I'm just going through these points of highlight. Each of them now deserves to be padded to reflect what we know. Next, political and social influence. A unified Africa can have a stronger influence in international organizations such as the UN Security Council, and international climate change agreements and implementation. Very important. Going forward, diverse perspectives. The global diaspora brings a diverse range of perspectives and experiences to the huge body of wisdom from traditional African knowledge, especially when we're talking about critical areas such as sustainability, climate change adaptation, even things like tapping into people like the Nobel Prize winning Kenyan Dr. Wangari Maathai. She is a pioneer in green belts and other strategic, sustainable dialogue. So we're almost finished here. I'm going to begin to wrap it up. There are questions for ongoing discussions. These questions include, and I'm not going to answer these, just going to read the questions. The questions include, what are the key challenges facing Africa's unity and cooperation, and how can they be addressed? How can Africa promote economic empowerment and reduce poverty? What role can technology and innovation play in driving Africa's growth and development? How can Africa ensure sustainable development and environmental protection? What is the importance of human capital development in Africa's future, and how can it be achieved? Question number 6, how can Africa foster regional cooperation and enhance economic integration? Question number 7, what are the implications of the African Continental Free Trade Area for Africa's economic development? Question number 8, how can Africa promote entrepreneurship and innovation, and what support mechanisms are needed? Question number 9, what is the role of education in Africa's future, and how can access to quality education be improved? And question number 10, how can Africa balance economic development with environmental protection and social justice? So those questions are a good way to end this chapter And I'm so grateful to those of you who did tune in today. I thought that this was a good, challenging chapter. The chapter is entitled Strategic Considerations. Today's program was Strategic Considerations, Key Themes for the African Future. That's why you tune into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. I'm not promoting any classes today. Two classes are undergoing. If you missed the start of the 90 days to write and publish your book, well, you missed the first couple of weeks, and it's pretty good. My students are pushing their books into high priority, and I'm wonderfully impressed. I knew they were going to impress me. That's what the class is designed to do, to get the book started and get the books going and make sure that the books are of high quality and integrity. I want to thank my students for coming on board. I wish there were 6 times as many students. That's what the plan was. But some people are quick to take advantage of opportunity, and some people are them cousins of ours. And we're doing the best we can to transform them cousins of ours into dynamic people who have powerful will and vision and do seize opportunity when opportunity presents itself. I've been praying and praying and praying. Well, now you see your prayers got answered. Yes, that's true. And we have the second class is running. We've just started 56-day stem cell rejuvenation protocol. Today is it started on Saturday. Today is day 1, 2, 3, 4 of 56 days. And I'm proud to put my body back in this again. I just finished 56-day protocol with the last class and just took about 8 days off and then started another class. So my body's back into it. So today I'm getting back up to 200 plus push-ups twice a day. I got to remember to do the first one much earlier in the day. Don't wait till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, midnight. Last night I didn't do my first set of push-ups until midnight, so I only did 150. I could have done far more than that, but when you get that late at night, you just get distracted. And I just had so much to do. That's what we do. We're busy. So I would just say right now, buy the books. Do yourself, myself, do us all a favor and buy the books. The books will do a great job of transforming. Just a couple of comments here before we wrap it up. We do see Kashiba, do not forget to send me that map of the U.S. military bases to me. Yeah, I'll put that right in the email to you. Do I have an email program open? No, I don't have one open right now. Let me just put an email program open. And what I will do is I will start the email compose to Queen Mother Kashiba. And I don't know what that is. I don't want that. Compose to Queen Mother Kashiba. And the map of military bases. Okay, I'll finish that one. So thank you very much for everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Queen Mother. Thank you. Your new books go out in today's mail, The Stem Cell Revolution. I told you I would send you at least 2. I hope 2 is enough. I know your daughter is probably going to want one as well, or someone else in your circle. You let me know how many of those you want. I can get 3 in the package. And you have invested so much in the integrity of what I do. I wish I could give back in kind. I do my best, always striving to do even better. And on that note, I want to thank you all for tuning in today. It's a beautiful idea. Oh, let me just put up a note. Please do do get the books mentioned in our BSM, like Backstar Media catalog, at http://key.biz/CRP 2012. That's where you're going to find the books. And I highly encourage all of us to be a part of Black Star Media's ultimate capability of informing, exciting our people around the planet to our great destiny that is literally immediately ahead. This is such an exciting time to be on this planet, to be a person of African heritage. We talked about that early in today's broadcast. I'm going to wrap it up for today. Well, there's a second book that I've just started writing on, and we're going to pick that book up on Thursdays. And it deals with, this is a history book, a science history book. It's entitled Standard Omissions. Greek medicine is founded upon, or Greek medicine is founded upon African medical science. So I'm really excited. The last couple of days I've been looking at the first women physicians recorded world history. And they were African women, one of whom could be a model, kind of a replica of the first one. And I'm not going to go into those names right now because I don't want to mess them up and then have to come back and correct it. But I have great research and notes and sources to where you and I can verify these two women from the third dynasty. And the first physician on the planet is not Imhotep. We're going to be talking about that in the book Standard Omissions. Good, exciting work we're going to be doing there. You've been tuned into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we have our own now. And we should be proud of who we are, what we have, and what we plan to do with the resourcefulness that the Creator has placed in our hands. On your favorite, we aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio. We are LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you.